Hey everyone, Weekly Reviews here. I am wearing my Queen shirt because, as you might have guessed, it is Wednesday. So today I wanted to review Josh Dallas, aka Prince Charming, aka David Nolan. Prince Charming, or David Nolan, is a, another one of my least favorite characters on the show. He has an interesting backstory because he wasn't born into royalty. He lived with his mother and he was a shepherd, and he learned that he had a twin brother named James, and when he died, his brother James's, I guess he's his adopted father, Albert, needed somebody to keep the line of the throne, so he has David impersonate James, and he was supposed to marry Catherine, who was in the enchanted forest. He was I can't think of his name, but he's that classic fairy tale where everything he touched turns into gold, and they weren't really in love, and you can tell that because they kind of have like tension between them, like this is just an arranged marriage to unite the kingdoms. And sure enough, Snow White drops on his carriage and steals his ring that he got from his mother, and Prince Charming goes to find where Snow is and like sets a trap for her, and he traps her and gets the ring back. And there comes that classic line between them two where he says, "I'll find you." He says, I'll always find you," and they kind of have like a whirlwind romance because they always have like twists and turns dealing with Regina in the Enchanted Forest. And it seems it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, that can be a little bit self-righteous. I think that's one of the things I don't like about him. He's just very quick to judge. Like, he automatically thinks Regina is evil, and he doesn't know the whole side of the story. He doesn't know what went on with Snow's family, basically ruining Regina's family. And he seems to be very well respected by the people in the Enchanted Forest, including Snow and her friends. He actually, when the curse set, well, no, this is actually before the curse set, he married Snow, and his mother attended, and she was ill, as you can see, and you could kind of tell that he had a close relationship with his mother. I mean, that's all he had growing up. And I said that she was able to see them get married, and they married in this beautiful ceremony. And when they learned about the curse, they were going to originally have Snow and her unborn baby go through the magical wardrobe, but then when Pinocchio's son took the first spot, they just had Emma go through, and you saw Prince Charming fighting off Regina's men, and he actually was stabbed with a sword, and that kind of has to do with his story in Storybook, because in the first season, his character David is in a coma, and you see Snow trying to read to him at the encouragement of Henry, and eventually he does wake up and he finds out that he's engaged to Catherine Nolan, or are they? I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen the first season. I don't remember if they were engaged or married, but you can see that the romance again is sparking up with Snow and David. You can obviously see that they're in love, and they eventually get their memories back when the curse breaks, and they they get their memories back, which is one of my favorite scenes is when they all remember their memories and when they reunite with Emma. And you see when Emma and Mary Margaret fall through the portal, David then takes charge as the sheriff of Storybrooke, and he actually does a good job at it. And he actually takes charge of Henry when Henry doesn't want to be around Regina with everything that's happened. And under his, Henry seemed to develop a good relationship with his grandfather, and they kind of had some bonding moments. And when we saw Henry under the sleeping curse, instead of having him go under it again, David went under the sleeping curse to get information from Snow. And that happened. And then after that, like I said before, he's very quick to judge. Like when Cora framed Regina for Archie's murder, he was very quick to judge that she was guilty, and they wouldn't even give her a chance. And they were actually going to leave Regina behind, and this was actually David's idea, that Regina either has to come with them and live in prison for the rest of her life, or she can stay here, which Storybrooke would disappear, so then she would. So I'm like, really? What the heck? And Snow was hesitant about that. She didn't want that to happen, and David did. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you see in the third season, dealing with the whole Neverland storyline, and you see that Snow reveals that she wants to have another baby, and that was one thing I had a problem with, because they rarely ever spend time with Emma. They didn't really get a chance to know her in Storybrooke, and when Snow revealed that she wants to have another child right in front of her, that must have been very crushing for Emma. And David was very heroic. I think there was something with the dream shade that he almost died. I don't remember too much about that because it's funny, I don't follow that much on Charming and Snow. I usually focus on Regina and all the other my favorite people. But when the curse hits, Pan's curse hits Storybrooke, and they're gone for a year, and Emma comes back. Well, actually, in between there, when Charming finds out that he's going to be a father again, he's actually very nervous. I mean, he has normal concerns that any father would, and he's afraid that he'll ruin this his second chance of being a father again, like Emma. And you see that when Emma returns to Storybrooke and they find out Mary Margaret's having a baby, and you see that they're very gullible in believing that Zelena is a midwife, and they're fighting Zelena because she needs her baby to break the laws of magic. She needs a true love baby, and one of the things besides the true love baby that they need is courage, and she gets Charming's courage from his sword, which I thought that was interesting how they added in the courage, the heart, and the brains like they have in the Wizard of Oz. And they have a baby boy who they name Neil, which I think is just bizarre that they named it after Emma's ex. But Charming got the little prince that he always wanted. And the fourth season, you see them kind of taking a step back in a way, because they're a little afraid of Emma and her powers and what that's doing, but you also see them wanting to protect Emma. But what we learn is that him and Snow have been keeping a huge secret. Like, they're not all big heroes like we thought they were. Before Emma was born, they both have this dream of what a future Emma will look like, and they want to ensure that there'll be no darkness in her. So the darkness that may be in her has to be transferred to somebody else, and they transfer all the darkness into Maleficent's baby, and they have to send it to another land. And they kept that a secret for so many years, and it's very hypocritical to say, I don't know how to explain this. It just seems kind of hypocritical for all the, like, they think that they're these big heroes, but then they actually are responsible for ruining somebody else's life. And what we find out is that the the dragon's egg they sent to Neverland was Emma's friend Lily that she met in foster care, and she didn't have an easy life at all. And you saw them trying to force Regina to keep the secret, and you see that Regina's definitely grown because she could have just revealed the secret and in revenge for, Snow revealing her secret. And she didn't. And I was very happy to see Lily reunite with her mom after all that time, but you saw them kind of dealing with the repercussions of their choices, and Emma's kind of giving them the cold shoulder, which is understandable in her situation. And this season they're kind of dealing with Emma being the dark one, and it annoyed me that Charming had this relationship with King Arthur, and that Snow was trying to warn him, like, that she doesn't trust Arthur, but he's like, no, nothing's going on. Like, he's just so blind to the fact. I mean, I don't know if he's not naive or anything, but it just seems like he's just all high and mighty and whatnot. And now that whole thing, is squashed. I don't know if we'll be seeing Arthur again, but now they're dealing with being in the underworld, and we actually see that his brother James is in the underworld, so I don't know what they're going to be doing with that, if they're going to have James and David meet again. But they just got into the underworld, so it's kind of like introducing everyone to what's going on. So I'm actually hoping we get to see some Snow and Charming scenes, because it seems like there hasn't been too much lately, and we haven't got to see too many romantic scenes or any angst or stuff like that. So I'm hoping that there'll be more Charming and Snow scenes. I actually hope there'll be some more scenes with them bonding with Emma, and I really hope that they bond with, I want to see some scenes with them and Neil, because it seems like they have the baby, but there's no scenes with them at all. It seems like they're constantly leaving the kid to go on these adventures. I'm like, really? I mean, you wanted to have a second chance at parenthood, but you're leaving the kid behind all the time when you go off to these new lands. Outside of Once Upon a Time, Josh Dallas is living his own fairy tale, because he's married to Snow White on Once Upon a Time in real life. He's married to Ginny Goodwin, and they have a son named Oliver, and they are currently expecting a new little prince. So congratulations, Josh and Ginny, on the prince and the prince on the way. I believe Josh also starred in the first Thor movie, but he didn't star in the second one because of scheduling conflicts, and he doesn't go to too many cons. He usually goes to San Diego Comic-Con, but yeah, he doesn't go to too many conventions, because I would assume during spare time they're spending time with their family. So I hope you enjoyed this Prince Charming, David Nolan, and Josh Dallas review. If you want to check out Once Upon a Time, it's on Sundays at 8 p.m. on ABC. I hope you enjoyed this review here, and until next time, stay regal.